And her eldest brother, the Marquis of Huntington, is rolling in money. The grin on Talbot's face widened. Indeed, Lady Nina Trent would be perfect. He liked the woman, and he'd bet his last coin Huntington would offer a sizable dowry. The funds would help solve his financial woes and allow him not only to make repairs to his derelict properties, but also to give his sister, Meg, the come-out she deserved next year. Yes, Lady Nina might be the answer to all his problems. "Aren't her brother and sister-in-law hosting a ball next week?" Talbot asked, taking a pen and writing something in the thick tome before tossing it on a table. Elliot laced his hands behind his head and leaned back in his chair. "Yes, and I'm attending." "So, Lady Nina it is." "I don't know, Elliot. Even if you win her over, her brother might object to the match. Some say Lord Avalon proposed last year, and Huntington didn't allow her to accept the offer." Not precisely true. Elliot's cousin Victoria had sworn him to secrecy. Nina had accepted the Earl's proposal, but before the family announced it, she'd found out the man had a pretty French mistress in Paris. "Everyone knows Avalon is a cad." Talbot's bark of laughter sounded like a small explosion. "And you aren't? You better convince the chit that you love her, or her brother will never let you wed the girl. Huntington dotes on his wife and feels only a love match will do for his sister." A love match? What rubbish. There was no such thing. His own parents had resided in separate homes. It was a miracle he and Meg had ever been conceived. His grandparents' marriage had been worse. They needed to reside in separate countries. Another roll of thunder shook the walls of the townhouse. A piece of the ceiling's plaster landed on the floor with a thump. "Bloody hell!" Talbot stood and brushed the flecks of plaster off his clothes. Elliot released a slow breath. Before this blasted townhouse came crashing down around him, he'd convinced Lady Nina to wed him. Sitting in the drawing-room of her family's Park Lane residence, Lady Nina Trent tried not to say a word as grandmother lectured her. Arguing with the woman would only cause the matriarch to repeat everything she'd said in an elevated voice. The best way to contend with this situation was to remain as quiet as a church mouse until the sermon concluded. "Are you listening to me, child?" The old woman thumped her cane. "Of course, grandmother." Nina forced a sugar-infused smile. Nina's eldest brother, James, had always said grandmother lived by 3 rules: God, country, but most of all, honour to the Trent family name. In grandmother's eyes, her grandchildren had botched the latter. Though James, once known as the murdering Marquis, had redeemed himself, her brother Anthony had not. He gambled too much, drank too much, and fornicated too much, and Nina's broken betrothal to that bounder, Lord Avalon, had only added to the old woman's displeasure. "I heard no whisper of scandal regarding you." Nina's gaze narrowed on the woman like a hawk spotting a field mouse. A cold chill moved down her spine. "What is being said?" "That Avalon decided not to propose to you because of some character flaw you possess." Grandmother's hand tightened around the gold knob of her cane, as if she wished to thrash something with it. "That is balderdash. He did propose, though it had not been publicly announced. I ended the engagement, and I am not the one with a character flaw. That cad is. Hopefully, such an untruth will die in the wind. Or it might pick up speed and sweep through the temps with the intensity of a gale force. If that happens, then your chances of making a good match will wither away. I wish you'd overlooked Avalon's shortcomings and married the Earl." Shortcomings? Is that what grandmother called them? The man had professed his undying love to Nina until she'd found out he had a mistress, a very pregnant mistress. "I refuse to marry a man who intends to keep a paramour." Nina squeezed her hands so tight, her nails bit into her palm. "Some married men keep a mistress." "Then I pity their wives." Nina was sure grandmother knew why she hated adulterous men. Her father had been unfaithful, and her mother had spent her life collecting more heartache than any woman should have to endure while dealing with her philandering husband. Grandmother thumped her cane again. "It is your duty to stem the flow of gossip.